Well, hey y'all, we're making a bee wreath today in my video, and my little bees are made from twine. If you're new to our channel, I'm Elizabeth of Southerngmoregals. We want to welcome you here, and let's jump right in with making that bee wreath. To start with, to make my bees, I'm using these little popsicle sticks is what I'm going to call them from the Dollar Tree, and these are the small ones. I just wanted to show you a comparison. That's a big one. So I'm using the little small ones, and you'll need 4 of these for each bee, and I'm going to make 7 bees. So this is really simple. I'm just using my glue gun, and we're going to glue these together to make them a little bit thicker, and then we're going to put a little bit longer piece on here to make his little stinger. So I've got the 3 there together. I flipped it over on the back, and this is where I'm gluing the piece a little bit longer down there, and that's where we're going to make him have a little stinger right there. Now the rest of my bee is going to be made with the twine and the jute. This is just kind of the base or the little skeleton for my bee. So I'm putting a little bit of hot glue from my gun on each side here of the front. This is a little bit higher piece of the popsicle stick there. And I'm putting some glue on each side, and then I'm going to twist it there right in the middle, and this is going to make his stinger, and I'm going to use 2 of the little twine pieces here. I'm going to put 1 more on top for his stinger. So this was the first layer. And next I'm going to add the second layer, and I'm going to put the glue on each side with this layer, but this time I'm going to do it just a little bit different. I'm not going to do the little twists there. I'm going to actually do it straight so it'll have a point, and that way you'll have a nice little stinger there down at the bottom. Because when I think of a bumblebee, I definitely think of a little stinger there on the bottom of a bee. So I'm just pinching that together here right on the top. So one's a little bit pointed, and then the other one's kind of twisted there in the background. So that'll fill him in really good. You got the stinger there. We're going to put a little bit of glue here on the back with my glue gun, and then I'm going to use the small jute twine from the Dollar Tree, or you can get this from Walmart, either one. And this is on a roll there, you see, and I'm just, once this dries on the back, I'm just going to start wrapping, and we're going to wrap all the way up to the very top. I'm going to start down here at the stinger, and then we're going to wrap several layers or several rows, and then I'll put a little bit more glue from my glue gun. And I'm just going to continue to wrap, and I'm going to wrap several rows, and then I'll put a little bit more glue, a little dab there right in the middle, and then just keep wrapping. I think I wrapped about 5 or 6 times around, and then I put a little bit more glue. And here's my little bumblebee body, and next we're going to go and make his little head. Now for his head, I'm just using the little small twine again, and all I'm going to do is I'm just wrapping this around in a circle. So you want to get the little center there, and then I'm just going around and around like a little circle or a little ball, and we're just twisting around and around, and I'm keeping it flat there with my fingers. And then once I get to the end, once you get this the size that you want the bee's head to be, then I'm just going to clip it off, and we'll put a little glue there on the side, and we'll glue it to the body. And here you'll see I'm just putting a little glue there right on the end so it doesn't unravel. And then I'm going to actually glue it to the body. And then I'm going to flip it over, and on the back I'm just going to put a little glue there right in the center so this doesn't unravel or it doesn't fold down, because you want that circle there to stay flat. So really simple, easy to do. Anyone could do this, so keep following along. Now to make my little bees antennas, I'm going to use some floral wire from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just putting some hot glue behind his head here. I tried some pipe cleaners, but I didn't like the way they looked. I thought they were a little bit thick or a little bit too fuzzy looking. And I'm just using some pom-poms there I had left from a Christmas DIY. I think the red was actually Rudolph's nose, but you know, they'll work. We're going to paint them so it doesn't really matter what color they are. And you can use some of the little foam balls. I had some of those left from some floral items I used on a couple of my bees because I ran out of these little pom-poms. Now to put the wings on the back of the bee, I'm just using this little bit thicker or larger rope or jute, and I just wanted to show you the size. There is one a little bit bigger, so I was just trying to show you the numbers here, and this is the one I'm using is the little bit smaller or the little bit thinner rope. I think this works really good for his wing size, and there you can kind of see in comparison to the size. But what I'm going to do here for his wings is we want to make like a figure 8 is what we're trying to do here, or something really similar to an 8. So I'm just making a loop here, and then we're going to loop it around in the opposite direction. And I turn these on each bee, so one side is up more to the right and the other one is up more to the left, so they're not all the same. So I'd encourage you to do them all a little bit different. And I'm just hot gluing this down with my glue gun. And then I found the easiest thing to do was just spray paint these little guys here. So I just took them outside, spray painted them black, and then I'm going to use some yellow paint to make his little stripes here on my bumblebee. And I'm going to put a little sign on my wreath, and I found this from the Dollar Tree, and all this is like a little metal flower looking thing, and I just popped it right off of here. So this is a little smaller one. They had some larger flowers hanging on the shelf, but this one's a little bit smaller in size, so it works great for this size of wreath. And I had these stencils from Michaels. I use these on my other bee DIY, but we're going to use the little hive here on this one, and I'm just using some white chalk paint to go over my beehive. And on this same stencil, it has a little bee there, you can see. And I'm going to put 3 little bees here on my sign. And I'm just using some black paint to make the bees. And then I'm going to go back and kind of fill those in with some yellow and some white. I'll show you here towards the end of the video. But I just turned my bee different ways to put him facing in different directions. And this is the ribbon I got from the Dollar Tree that I'm going to use to make my bow with some floral wire for our wreath. Just a really simple bow. I like about 6 loops in my bow, so I'm just twisting that around to give me a little bow, and I'll put a little loop there in the front to fill it all the way in, and I'm just going to attach it to my wreath here with the wire. I love these wreaths from the Dollar Tree. They look kind of like a grapevine wreath, so that's what we're going to use. You can see it there a little bit, and here's a pic from one of my lemon DIYs to show you. This is the wreath that I'm using. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to my bumblebees just to finish them off here. And I'm just making about 3 stripes across each bee. And I'm just making them the width of my paintbrush here. I just got these brushes from the Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to go across. Some of them I put a little straighter, and then some of them have a little bit of an angle I put on them. And then once I get the yellow done, I'm just going to take some white paint. And a couple of the bees, 3 or 4 of them, I went around the inside of the wing just to give it a little bit of a highlight with some white paint. So if you're loving all things twine, or you like working with the jute and the twine, and we're participating today in the Twine It Up Challenge. There's also a playlist for all the other crafters or creators that are participating in it that's listed down in our description box. And the challenge is hosted by Fave from Creations by Fave. So her information is listed down in our description box. She also has a co-host for this month, and that is the Crafty DIY guy, and his information is also listed down in our description box. So once you get finished here, check out everyone's videos in the Twine It Up Challenge, and let's move on to finish our bee wreath and show you our final results here. So I just wanted to show you my sign again, where I put a little bit more detail in it. The bee stencils didn't show a lot of detail when I used the black, so I wanted them to pop a little bit more. So I put a little bit of yellow there on each bee, and I put there in the hive. I just went over a couple of the little lines there with some yellow, and I trimmed the wings on the bees with a little bit of white just to give it a little bit more of a pop here color. Now all we've got left is to attach everything, and I just attached everything onto my wreath with my glue gun. I just hot glued my little bees here onto my wreath, and then I hot glued the sign onto my wreath. I tried to put the sign and the bow kind of diagonal from each other, and then I just twisted the bow on there with some floral wire, and I kind of turned and twisted my little bees in different directions, kind of giving them that little buzzing around kind of look here on my wreath. And this turned out really sweet, really cute wreath. It only cost me about $4 to make, considering I had all the paints. But you know, the twine and the jute were just $1. The wreath was $1, and then the sign and the bow. So only a couple dollars here to make your wreath. Let us know what you think. If you're new to our channel, subscribe to our channel, turn your notifications on, check out our Instagram page, leave us a comment in the description box, check out the other crafters in the playlist. We want to say thank you again to Creations by Fave and the Crafty DIY guy. Thanks again for watching. Hope you have a great day.